Hello and welcome to all of my fellow movie fans. My name is Stacia and I like to watch old movies. And then I like to record videos and share my thoughts with you about them and get the discussion going. So if you like stuff like this, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. I am looking forward to getting 100 subscribers and beyond from there. We are very close. So help me out and subscribe. So we are in the thick of cold weather January, and I have been recommending my cold weather movies. So this week, my recommendation is going to be from 1996. It's going to be the Coen brothers classic Fargo. And if you're not familiar with the Coen brothers, it is Joel and Ethan Coen. They are known for making slightly quirky movies of varying genres. This is one of their crime movies. And all of you out there that like watching your murder shows, your true crime murder shows, this is a movie for you. And it'll tell you in the beginning that this is based on a true story of a man. He had his wife kidnapped to kind of extort money from his father-in-law, and that kidnapping goes awry, and the pursuit of the policewoman played by Frances McDormand, Marge Gunderson, and her investigation to find out what was actually going on. And Joel and Ethan Coen also write all of their movies as well. This stars, like I said, Frances McDormand as Marge Gunderson. It also stars William H. Macy as Jerry Lundegaard. It has Steve Buscemi as one of the kidnappers. He is Carl, and the other kidnapper is Peter Stormare, who plays Greer. In all of your hearing about movies, you might have heard of a famous wood chipper scene in this movie, as well as the Coen brothers, when they make a crime movie, are not afraid of blood and a little gore in it. So you've got that to look forward to if that is your thing. Also, the wonderful performance by Frances McDormand in this movie as the cop investigating the kidnapping and murders. Also, William H. Macy is fantastic. There's a lot of great performances, classic performances in this movie that you won't want to miss if you are a fan of good movies and good acting. And this movie does take place in the coldest part of the United States of America. Fargo is the name. It does not really take place in Fargo, but it does take place in that area, or a lot of the upper Midwest towns, and their unique accents are portrayed in this movie to a kind of comedic effect that will actually keep the story going and keep you interested because of the comedy that is interjected into this movie with a little bit of crime and a little bit of blood. And you will find yourself wanting to mimic that Minnesotan accent after you watch this movie. It's kind of contagious that way. But to get you those cold weather vibes, this movie does take place during the dead of winter in Minnesota. So every time you're outside, it is either snowing or there's snowpack everywhere. It makes a lot of the outdoor scenes that bright white, so everything against them kind of pops and makes for a good effect in the movie for the stage direction and set design, even though it is outside and not a set. But the overall look of the film will give you those cold weather January, February vibes. And Frances McDormand plays a very pregnant Marge in this movie, but she was not really pregnant in real life. They made the whole pregnancy suit for her, but they made it weigh a lot so she would get that familiar walk that pregnant women at that later stage of pregnancy often have. But she is in fact married to one of the Coen brothers. Her husband is Joel Coen. And speaking of the winter weather vibes in this movie and what you expect from a real Minnesota winter, ironically, during the filming of this movie, which was filmed in winter in Minnesota, it was one of their warmest winters in history on record and had the lowest amount of snowfall of any Minnesota winter on record. And a little bit of trivia for movie fans is Joel and Ethan Coen, you'll notice a lot of times their movies are edited by Roderick James, which is actually the name that they use for each other because they actually edit a lot of their own movies. And Joel and Ethan Coen are actually from Minnesota, and that is why they based this film in Minnesota. I know at the beginning of the movie it tells you it is a true story, but that was a lie. And you might be familiar with nowadays, there is a TV show called Fargo that is inspired by the movie. It's not based on the same stories. It is an anthology series that takes place around the same area, and each season is different stories that just take place around the same area that the movie Fargo takes place. And this goes on to win a slew of Oscars that year. It is one of the few films that was released earlier in the year that actually goes on to win Best Picture during the Oscars. Frances McDormand won for Best Actress. Her first Best Actress Oscar win is for this movie. Joel and Ethan Coen didn't actually win Best Directors. It was a split year where director and picture went to opposite films. But if you're wondering why I keep saying Minnesota in this movie, although the movie is called Fargo and Fargo is in North Dakota, none of the film actually takes place in Fargo. And this movie at the time was the Coen brothers' biggest hit. On a budget of less than $7 million, it made more than $60 million at the box office, which at that time in the 1990s was a huge amount of money to make. So again, for some reason, if you've never seen Fargo, I really suggest you watch that, especially during the colder seasons to help you get those cold weather vibes. Or if you haven't seen Fargo in a while, you should watch it again. It is a great movie to rewatch. And again, this is Stacia along with my dog Max, who is on the bed, and you could probably hear him sighing half the time when I spoke, but I invite you to join me again. I try to do these every week where I either go over an actress' career or an actor's career, suggest movies. Right now, I'm just suggesting movies on the season. And like I said, I am almost to 100 subscribers, and I would appreciate it if you watch this. If you would subscribe and get me to 100 subscribers and beyond, I would absolutely love that. But this is Stacia again, and join me next time, and I love y'all. Bye.